Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. We are live just a few seconds early. We are live on Facebook. Good morning, Matt. We are live on LinkedIn. We are live on Twitch, on Twitter, and on YouTube. And so, for those of you that can see me, good morning. And for those of you that can hear me, good morning. We are going to be here for an hour, and you are in Belonging in Business. And we're talking this morning. Good morning, Rachel. We're speaking this morning about belonging through change, and I'm going to give it a couple of minutes just for people to gather and just to say happy, beautiful, amazing, happy Saturday. It is a happy Saturday. We've been live a minute already, and of course we are being streamed everywhere. So quite possibly you are there. Although, as I have said before, I'm not actually able at the moment to be able to interact with all of those platforms at the same time, but that's going to change from next week because I have a personal assistant coming on board with me. So, good morning, everyone, and this is a special edition of Belonging in Business. For those of you that are arriving after the event, you probably won't get to see who I am or hear who I am because I'm Mandy-Jayne, I'm your host, and I'm thrilled to be here this morning. And most Saturdays, in fact, at the moment, every Saturday at 8 o'clock, to discuss whatever pressing issue that deserves our attention and our action. So today, good morning, my love. Good morning. So today, we are diving in to a very important topic for me. You are in Belonging in Business, and I'm Mandy-Jayne Lace, or known as MJ, and I'm thrilled to be here. It's an incredibly exciting morning, and for those of you that can see me live, I have a new dress on. And there's a reason for that. Ooh, a new dress. It must mean something deserves my attention and my action. So, belonging through change doesn't sound very logical to me. Belonging through change. How would we belong whilst we change? Well, today, because I have this new dress, good morning, Marie. I will not because I have a new dress, but I'm going there and I bought a new dress for it. I will be supporting and representing and empowering more women. And that includes me, because I'm one of those women, to step into the world of politics. Now, you might not have established that from the title, but for those of you who follow me on social media, and there are more and more and more, let me say, of you that are following me on social media and through my workfulness, then you will know that I am a tireless campaigner for the rights of those marginalised or ostracised, or whose voices are missing from the agenda. As you may or may not know, I'm in Wales. I'm in Welsh Wales. Francesca's in the audience, and she dragged me here kicking and screaming. Over the last 25 years, has been nagging me prolifically, and it took me a quarter of a century, but I'm here now. A quarter of a century it took me. And I'm going to the Senedd. Now, for those who don't know what the Senedd is, I'll tell you in a minute. But the Senedd has a strong history of female representation, but I'm afraid that diversity there still remains scarce, and it's high time for change. I didn't just say that, all right. Evelyn James, who I am meeting this morning, who is the campaign manager for Women's Equality Network, rightly pointed out that there can be no true representation if our voice is missing in decision making. So I think me and Evelyn are going to get on when we get together face to face. This event says to women, you are all vital to the future of Wales. It's open to all. We all belong here. So belonging is definitely getting a seat at the Senedd as more diverse women take their seat at the table. Wales holds that distinction of having had the first legislative body with an equal number of men and women. But this balance needs to be restored now, not only in the Senedd, but to all spheres of government in Wales. In fact, Jane Hunt, somebody else who I know I'm going to get on with, aptly expressed that events like this are the perfect example of how women, and I think other people, but she didn't say that, can work together to achieve the change that we need to see. Today, women will be led through practical workshops, conversations with ministers, and the Elect Her campaign, who are working with WEN, the Women's Equality Network, and SEND, are producing We Belong Here today. And the Elect Her campaign strongly suggests that politics doesn't work unless it really represents and reflects communities. And I couldn't agree more with our Minister for Social Justice, Jane Hunt. And that's why today we are going to delve into the heart of the matter, achieving belonging through change. So for those that weren't here for the first 5 minutes, we haven't even got started, except to say that I'm off to the Senedd, and women are going to storm the Senedd today because we belong here. Okay. So it isn't just a conversation for women as we discuss this kind of arena. It's an invitation for everyone, actually, who believes in equality and inclusivity. Because together, it's only together, can't do it on my own. Can't do very much on my own. In fact, I'm a bit crap on my own. That's why we're better together, right? We can make a difference and ensure that we do all belong here. So stay listening and thank you for being here. It's Saturday morning already. I can't believe that we made it to Saturday at 8 o'clock and we're making history together. In fact, Pete Cohen's been online today. He's making history. He's just been looking at the statue of David as he makes history. Let's every week, including this week, make history. I'm very excited. I hope you are. So this will be my first whole day at the Senedd. The Senedd stands as a symbol of progress in promoting equality and equity in governance to me, because its architectural design reflects that commitment. I love the fact that when members of the Senate convene, they convene in that circular chamber. And that circular chamber breaks away from traditional hierarchical layouts. It fosters an environment where every voice has an equal footing. This physical arrangement, for me, sends a powerful message that the Senedd represents diversity, not just in its values, but in its even its structure. And we also know that, the Senedd was committed to equality of representation when it enshrined the Senedd and Election Wales Act in 2020, which lowered the voting age to 16 and expanded such a thing to include our foreign nationals and prisoners on demand. Truly, it demonstrates for me an inclusivity that goes way beyond gender. So we're talking about change and we're talking about belonging. And this requires a different approach to the ones perhaps we've been adopting. I don't know what you think, but shortly I will bring you up to find out. But before I do, I had to look, which I do generally. This is a bit airy fairy angel lady, not very LinkedIn again, MJ, at numerology, because I'm into numbers. I'm actually a dyscalculic. That's a learning difference, which is characterized by a persistent difficulty in understanding and working out numbers. Mathematical. I'm hoping everything's okay. Just let people come up, check that there's nothing happening that shouldn't be. I hope you can hear me. I'm dyscalculic, and this learning difference which is characterized by a persistent difficulty in understanding and working with numbers, with mathematical concepts and mathematical symbols. It's sometimes referred to a mathematics disorder or a mathematical disability. Now, dyscalculia is not just solely related to a poor effort or poor teaching, but it's actually a neurological condition, a brain processing difference that can affect people throughout their lives. And it often coexists with other learning disabilities, such as dyslexia, which is difficulty with reading and language. But this is a distinct condition specific to mathematical difficulties. It remains, however, that I am powerfully attracted to numerology. Excuse me a minute. Just getting over a chest infection. Excuse me. I just have to take a drink. because I am, oh, excuse me. Just to prove to anyone if they thought I wasn't poorly. I'm from a gypsy traveller heritage. So I looked at today's date for a bit of fun. I went to see what today held. So we belong here. What did it mean? And it might not surprise you to hear that today will be the 21st. And number 21 in numerology is often associated with creativity, partnerships, and a balance of energies. It also combines the qualities of independence, which is number 1, excuse me, and cooperation, number 2. So for me, this number suggests that creative collaboration or finding a balance between self-reliance and working together might be important today. And then we have number 10. Well, as previously mentioned, number 10 is associated with leadership. 10 Downing Street, for example. So who now have a ramp at last, by the way? 10 Downing Street has a ramp. I'm very proud of them. Probably have a lamp as well. At last, independence and innovation. It suggests that there may be opportunities for leadership or innovative approaches on this date. And then number 23 reversed in the date, of course. The number 23 appears in reverse, and this is associated with creativity, versatility, and self-expression. So I think overall, my numerology interest tells me that today there's going to be a creative energy from those numbers 21 and 23, opportunities for leadership and innovation from numbers 10, and it might be time for creative partnerships, balancing that independence with cooperation and taking a leadership role in innovative endeavours. So change is on the agenda, and we belong here is at the Senate, and I am here today working with them to support a neuro-inclusive approach to the day. I am Mandy-Jayne. I'm a SENCO, a Special Educational Needs Coordinator, and a LENCO in Wales, an Additional Learning Educational Needs Coordinator. It means I've studied at master's level twice the needs of individuals with learning differences and disabilities, and this is where change is evolving. Neuro-inclusion is now on the BASWA agenda. That's BASWA, by the way, Alexia, not BASRA, the British Association of Social Workers agenda. And I say BASRA because Alexia and I and a few others went to the BASWA conference this summer, and Alexia referred to it as BASRA before we went all the time. And actually, it wasn't quite as bad as entering BASRA, but it was quite difficult. But neuro-inclusion is now on the BASWA agenda with a new partnership where a neuro-inclusive policy and statement will be evolving with a working party from the British Association of Social Workers and Neurodiversity in Business. This is exciting because belonging through change is a transformative concept that recognises the importance of ensuring that everyone not only has a voice, but a meaningful space in which to express it. It's about creating an environment where every individual, including me, feels genuinely welcomed and valued and fully engaged. I believe that ultimately leads to acceptance and understanding, particularly in the realms of business and society. Fostering awareness is at the core of my endeavour. I also believe that in order to foster that awareness, we have to promote psychological safety. When we do, organisations can then become further neuro-inclusive, because in that way we acknowledge and embrace the diverse ways in which individuals, like me and you, my dyscalculia, maybe you have a learning difference, think, learn and work. It creates an atmosphere where employees are encouraged to share their ideas. We talked about this last week, their concerns and their experiences without a fear of judgment. Because by actively listening, and I'm psychotherapeutically trained, and incorporating diverse perspectives, an inclusion specialist, businesses can drive positive change. They can cultivate a culture of inclusion, and more importantly, facilitate a profound sense of belonging for all members of their workforce, but furthermore, society at large. So if we know that's what we've got to do, how are we going to do it? How do we foster this neuro-inclusivity as fast as we need to? Well, change is afoot globally. I'm just going to say it now because I don't think it cannot be said. There are atrocities, disgusting and horrific happenings that can't be ignored on this day, whether we are fostering change or any other day where such acts continue. But how do we manage to actually tolerate change? Because in my humble opinion, change is the one thing we can all expect. And a person that's close to my agenda that you hear me talk about regularly is Brené Brown, and someone who I feel fosters change through their own authenticity and vulnerability. And indeed, like me, she talks about vulnerability, my own and others. Brené suggests that embracing vulnerability is crucial for fostering belonging during periods of change. It's about acknowledging our own imperfections and uncertainties, and that's not easy. That's not easy. But I hope that I'm showing you the way here today. That in turn allows us to connect with each other on a deeper level. When when individuals and organisations can be open about their challenges and their insecurities, and believe me, I'm feeling insecure today, it creates an environment where people feel seen and understood. That fosters change. That fosters inclusion. That fosters belonging. Empathy in that role, in that part, plays a central role in building those connections and promoting that belonging. Brené talks about active listening and seeking to understand others' perspectives, being curious, inquiring after, not just assuming or presuming or deciding. During times of change, showing that empathy, making that inquiry can help everyone navigate uncertainty and feel supported. Brené talks about courage. I need courage today. I need courage when we're addressing change and fostering belonging. I'm looking after what they referred to as the neurodivergence, because there's lots of them apparently. I am courageously challenging the status quo and confronting those biases when I arrive and say, yes, I am happy to support our neurodivergence and I am one of them. And in that way, I make those necessary changes to create a more inclusive and equitable environment. So today, I am definitely rolling forwards with the courage of my convictions as we belong here, whatever that is for you today. And last but by no means least, to foster belonging, Brené Brown encourages the creation of inclusive spaces and communities like we are here. This involves actively dismantling barriers and biases that may exist to ensure that all individuals, regardless of their background, have a voice and a place at the table. Look, to do this, inclusion needs a multifaceted approach to change. This one here today, 8 o'clock on a Saturday, talking about belonging on LinkedIn and everywhere else. People, I'm not ignoring you. I take a bottom-up approach, as those entering these spaces require. I know it needs me to meet people today and every day where they're at, where they are, not where I want them to be, but where they are. Additionally, though, this means speaking with and working alongside not just members of my community, but also members of my community that don't yet feel included, and with those in powerful positions. To do that, I've got to show up. So I'm showing up again and again. And I intend to do this in different spaces and places as I continue to promote any government vehicle. I'll say that again, any government vehicle by which I can lift the 1 in 5. For example, the Access to Work programme and the extension to that for those who have not been able to access workfulness because of the inaccessibility of work. This is changing far too slowly for me. We have huge disparities in the system, some of which I've shared here and other social media platforms. I intend to discuss these issues at the top and at the bottom and in the middle And in your organisation, our organisation, actually, we call this the mess in the middle, but so should you. Because when there's a push from the top for efficiency and trimming the fat, and at the bottom, we have inequality and a huge disparity in access to goods and services, the built environment, positions of power, ineffective education for neurodivergent learners, and gender orientation and other intersectional disparities. Until I am represented equally, then society will not represent society. And therefore no one, and I mean no one, can be at peace or feel whole. Equity is the secret sauce for belonging. Connection is the only reason we are here. And it remains a fallacy that we are in any way disconnected from one another, because we're all one. What I do to you, I do to me. So what do I want you to do? Well, I want you to follow my journey. I want you to champion me. I want you to join in the conversation, to get behind me and my colleagues and all the disabled entrepreneurs that we are co-creating every single day. And we are so on track to have made that 100 disabled entrepreneurs that I envisaged before Christmas by the end of this year. I was on Clubhouse with Father Christmas and I said to him, what do I want for Christmas? I want to create 100 disabled entrepreneurs and smash a marathon. Well, I guess I got my Christmas present. And it's only October. So what do you want? What do you think? What do I want you to think even? Well, I want you to think this week and every day, and today particularly when I'm in the Senate, what equity looks like to you. Ask yourself, if I'm thinking about me now, I, me, myself and I, should I be still in a position where I can't drive and park in London? That's fair enough. It's built up. There's a lot of buildings. There's not a lot of parking, right? But neither can I get on the tube or cross Jubilee Bridge, because currently the lift's broken on one side and it looks like it has been for months. So what hope do we have to be neuro-inclusive today when we haven't made access to the built environment, to name just one challenge? So get behind this agenda of going to the top with the issues of the bottom and dealing with the mess in the middle. You know, if I explain to Access to Work that I will use my personal mobility device provided for work purposes at the weekend, I should pay 2/7 of my wheelchair cost and contribute to that. Now, my newest chair, you might not like the price of this, but it's going to be £24,000, which means I would contribute £6,857.71. Now, you see, dyscalculia does not mean I can't work out maths. Not when I really, really have to with one thing. Now, I'm not sure about you. I'm just going to say that figure again. It would mean a contribution from me personally of £6,857.71 for using my wheelchair, according to them, when I'm not work, 2/7, which, let's just work that out for you people there. I didn't work this out at first. They mean Saturday and Sunday. Now, I'm not sure about you, but most people, in fact, probably all people I know, just haven't got 7K hanging around. And for me to access this contribution from Motability, I have to pay it out first. So believe me, I can get wheelchairs funded through 3 complicated, long-winded ways. Mine was authorised in April, but still hasn't been funded in part or otherwise. But one day, in fact, probably today, I'm going to ask the government, because I'm there, if I can set up a fund to resolve inclusion. Sounds good, doesn't it, so far? To resolve inclusion. You're all going, wow, we're going to have the tube accessible. MJ's going to make planes accessible. People are going to be able to go everywhere. Yep, and I'm going to tell you how I'm going to fill this fund, okay? I'm just going to ask you all right now to divide your wage by 7, multiply that number by 2, Now, considering I'm dyscalculic, this can be very challenging, but you can see that with my phone and my calculator, even I managed to work out the social and domestic contribution to my work wheelchair, should I use it for personal use at all. And they assume, of course, weekends, because they assume I won't be working weekends. But of course, today I'm working at the Women's Equality Network all day, and it's Saturday. So for equity to occur, if you could just work that figure out for me, say you're on 23 grand a year, and I'm sure some of you aren't, that would be only £657.14, which is handy because it means I'm still paying more than you by £286.57, which is not bad for a person with a learning difference. But seriously, a tax on the social and domestic use of legs is definitely what I'm going to call for if this ridiculous rule is not disbanded, amongst others. What else? Well, I have a GoFundMe. I have a GoFundMe. It's not GoFunding me, really. It's GoFunding disabled entrepreneurs that don't have to then make the minimum income guarantee, the lower earning limit of just below 7 grand, actually. 7's a real number today, isn't it? Just below 7 grand. This fund, which is almost at that figure now, to create the first funded disabled entrepreneur, will evolve into a UK fund that will promote the development of real work opportunities for disabled entrepreneurs in the UK. And this is not before time. So until then, follow my socials and please donate, or share it with someone who you know can donate, that can make that fiscal difference, which is where the power lies. So it's my intention to create, with disabled entrepreneurs and employers, a landscape that is authentic, psychologically safe, and enables everyone a space, a place, a voice at the table. Because remember, if our voices are missing, then society cannot represent society, and then it cannot be peace. And we all want peace. And neither can we create an economy where as many people as possible are feeding the public purse through taxation, whatever you believe the government does with that. But if we are to be contributing taxpayers, which I am, then I now deserve and demand equality. And I expect my voice to be heard and action to be taken, just like the action I'm taking in an hour when I meet Evelyn from the Women's Equality Network. Thank you for the power of your listening. And I want to invite you to share your biggest takeaways of today as I continue this discussion here regularly about belonging until we all feel that we do. Thank you and good morning, everyone that's here. Christian, you were first up on the stage. Good morning.
Good morning.
Oh, just moved my camera as if I wasn't on live. I'm back again, everyone, everywhere else.
Right. I can't see what's the missing image because I'm on LinkedIn. Yeah, good morning, everybody.
Good morning,
Yeah,
Christian.
well, what she said.
That's what she said, right? That's all I'm going to say at the Senate. That's what she said. There'll be loads of she's. If I just say that, I won't have to say a thing, will I?
I don't think you but
you're calling me Gobby, aren't you, Christian?
Outspoken, isn't it?
Thank you. Same thing.
Yes. I think I got out of that one. Okay.
Nearly.
Completely agree with you. If we don't get the message out there and to everybody that, especially to the change makers, the Senate and the government, then nothing will happen. The tube and if nobody notices it, whoever shouts loudest gets listened to, unfortunately. So we have to make our presence felt in order to make a difference.
Making a noise.
Yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame, really, in some respect. You'd think that people you wouldn't have to, but there we are. That's how life works. And I support everything you do and everything we're trying to do, and it's working. If we can disabled entrepreneurs and lift people up. And as you say, as we said lots of times before, they become taxpayers and they become contributing members of society. So everybody wins. It all goes around in a big circle. But it's so it's a bit of a no-brainer really as far as I'm concerned. So have a great time at the Senate, MJ, and
thank you.
Go and show them today's the Senate, tomorrow the World Day.
Well, talking of the world, actually, Christian, I was talking with somebody who represents Somalia just the other day, and they've just got their education system sorted because of some amazing people, and particularly the amazing person I spoke to the other morning, who's always welcome to come up and share. But they in other countries, and I'm not just picking out one here, but in other countries, we think we're bad, right? But they haven't even got a policy for disabled people into work. There isn't one. It doesn't exist. There isn't any rights. There aren't any opportunities. There aren't any jobs. So whilst I sit here going, come on, give me more equity and get me on the tube, I'm also incredibly grateful that I live in a free country where there are rights, even if they're not as enshrined as the ADA. At least we do have the Disability Discrimination Act. And for those that don't know, the ADA is the American Disability Act. Do you know what I mean? We are fortunate, aren't we? But we do need to go to the rest of the world, don't we? We need to go to the rest of the world. We do.
Of course, we must acknowledge the fact that we're fighting for better, but we're coming up from a base. Higher base in a lot of other countries. I completely agree with you.
We are, and therefore we can contribute what we've learned in the last 80 years. We can feed into the rest of the world. That's what I believe.
Indeed.
That's what I believe. Thank you, my love. Morning, Jew. Are you there? It's great to see David here as well. Oh, you've got company. Good morning, everybody. I can't hear your company now. Are you there? Oh, he's gone. I think his phone might be playing up. David, good morning. Are you there?
Good morning, MJ.
Good morning, my love.
How are you?
I'm all right. How's your train journey?
It's good. I'm going to do Liverpool Football Club, so but my motorbike's getting some work onto it, so I'm jumping on the train and then getting a taxi to Anfield to perform and entertain all the amazing guests in the lounges.
Oh, I'm so glad. That's wonderful. Well done. It's great to see you here. We have opened a belonging in business space, and we've been here a few weeks now, and it's really, really starting to embed. And I'm at the Senate today. I'm at the Welsh Assembly today for Women into Politics, as I go and speak to all the ministers there.
Oh, very good. Belonging through change is basically what we've all got to do. Is we've all just got to just love each other and just be like unapologetically yourself, and don't change for anybody else, and then never judge anybody regardless of the circumstances, the situation, be that a physical disability, and I'm doing the quote unquote with the fingers normal person, because we're all at the end of the day, if you cut us all, we all bleed the same. Okay. So we're all part of the same thing. You just gotta respect each other's boundaries and wishes and things like that. But in regards to yourself, as I know you've got a severe disability, and I've seen you in your chair, now you struggle to get places. There should be more things which are done so it's a space for everybody, because then nobody feels isolated regardless of your circumstances or what's going on in life. So
thank you. And you're on a train, and it's very exciting for me because now when I get on a train, there's a toilet and a space. I remember a time when I used to have to sit on the guard's luggage in the guard's van in the chair with my youngest, because my eldest, my eldest, there we are, my eldest, because there wasn't a space on the train at that time, and now we actually have ramps and spaces on trains. So I'm grateful that I can sit on a train and go to the toilet.
Yeah, and also the new trains going to Ormsby, they've got like wider spaces now, so it all goes right through the middle. So on Merseyrail, they still got the old trains, but the phase and the new ones where it's like you can see right through the middle of the train. There are those posted for obviously so people can hold on, but there's so much more space for people in wheelchairs and that's to go on.
That's exciting. So, things are changing. They are
They
changing.
are.
Well,
Slowly
good
but surely,
luck.
but we'll get there.
We
Anyway,
will.
Julian's jump back in now because I think he
Indeed.
must have a technical issue, so I'll ring off. Have a good day.
Thank you. Have a great day, and love to Anfield, and tell them all you're fantabulous, and that I expect them to book you every week for the rest of your life.
Obviously.
Just tell them MJ said. Jew, good morning. You're back.
Good morning. Good morning.
No, good morning.
Bloody hell, I tell you what, some privacy would be nice. Excuse me while I rant.
You are very welcome, Jew. Did you want privacy from me or from the lady that interrupted you?
The lady that interrupted for the second
Yes,
time.
but in fairness, she wants to be famous.
Go away!
I thought he was practicing.
Away!
I thought Julie was practicing ventriloquism.
No, I think it's just helping him to move into independent living, isn't it, Jew? That's what's happening. We're just going to be moved into independent living.
Maybe.
So, what's your feed-in for today, my love?
Well, first off, enjoy the synod.
Thank you.
Second, it's nice to actually make it on here.
Well done.
If I had stuck with the previous attempts, I would know. However, it is rather difficult. But hellfire, shaking hands, so what? I'll get there.
You certainly will.
And I just discovered I can shout.
Well
Fuck me.
I'm very glad you found out that your voice can be louder. And I'm very glad that you've managed to find yourself, find this place, and find your voice this morning. It's incredible. And it's just all the more reason for us to forge forward, get your equivalent necessaries for the government and prove who you are to them, isn't it?
Absolutely.
So that you can start becoming a taxpayer again.
That would actually be nice.
Yeah.
But I think we're gonna have to put care homes on a similar footing to tube trains.
Right.
Because
there's a lot to do.
There are people in here with dementia that haven't got a voice anymore.
No.
And that, as far as I'm concerned, is wrong. Very wrong.
I would agree, Jew. I would agree. And maybe you had to be in that space in order that you could see that those people didn't have a voice. And so when you do come out, you can represent them.
As per usual, MJ, I'll say it quietly. I think you're right.
Say it quietly. I'm often wrong, but I'll tell you, I'm always grateful when you think that I've not got it wrong. I really do. But you're right. It's unacceptable that people that are voiceless do not have representation. And I completely agree with you that until you see it, you don't see it. And you've seen it. And I'm grateful you've seen it. I'm not grateful you're there to see it, but I'm grateful that you've seen it, you can hear it, and you know it. Because now we can do something about it. Thank you, my love. So we are all ready. Are you all right? Do you need to? Have you finished? Am I interrupting?
No, I'm done.
You're done. Cool. Well, we are at 22, and I'm going to go to Alexia in a second. If anyone else wants to come up and contribute, please do, particularly those that have spoken to me this week about belonging and inclusion, if they want to. Of course, you don't, because I'm going to be running away to the Senate in a minute, but please raise your hand if you do want to come up, because we will be closing very shortly. I'm going to talk to Alexia, and then I'm going to do a summary. If you want to come up in that meantime, there'll be a few minutes. Alexia, good morning, my love. Welcome.
Good morning, my love, to you too and everyone else. Well, you can guess where I am.
Where
I'm
are you?
out in the rain picking up the rubbish.
Oh, is it too wet?
No, I must admit I didn't go out yesterday, and I couldn't even get my friend to go out and have a pee yesterday.
No.
She
Dogs
really
know.
did not like it.
Dogs
But
know
we
the
are
weather's
out
silly.
Today, picking up the rubbish. One thing I would like to say to people: I'm a disabled lady, but I would never admit it until I met MJ. I've been an employee, I've been an employer. Your life changes all the time. I'm now getting to a point where walking is becoming a real issue. But as I said to my doctor on Wednesday, that doesn't mean coming up to 70 that I'm stopping working. I just need support to do that work, because then I'm putting money back into the pot. But to do that, I need the equipment to make life possible for me to move around. Yeah, I can do a lot for myself, as a lot of us in this group have. There are many, many people. I'd never realised how many people run their own businesses who are disabled. But some people need a hand to get started on that journey. And that's what MJ and us as a group are here to do.
Absolutely.
Because that gives better health, it gives better well-being, it gives a better lifestyle, it puts money back into the pot to help those who genuinely cannot do something. But believe you me, where MJ and I first met on Clubhouse, we have got a whole group of us around us who literally, if you'd met them on Clubhouse, would never think they're doing what they're doing now.
Absolutely.
In fact, I got my PA coming to me today to help me with my next book and some other work. And we both have challenges, but she's driving probably about 4 or 5 hours to come and work for me today. She does that about once a month. But it just shows you that life doesn't stop with a disability. And I will leave it there. Don't be afraid to take life on and take that journey. And also don't be afraid to admit that you need help. That doesn't mean life has to stop. So rain or no rain, everyone, have an absolutely fantastic weekend. And you always have a choice how you look at life. You can show the gratitude, which is what I try to do, clearing the rubbish. And believe you me, sometimes it can make me very angry. But I have to change that anger and remember, not everybody is on the same journey as me. But I live in an area where I was told I would never change it. I have. So don't be afraid to change and take life on. So have a fantastic weekend, everyone. My phone's getting wet now, so I think it's time to sign off.
Thank you for speaking whilst you were out in the rain collecting the rubbish. For those that don't know, I met Alexia on Clubhouse. I met her actually in Pete Cohen's room, and that's the MI365, which on Monday morning we're in Clubhouse at 6 o'clock, everybody, in MJ's house. For those that don't know, just follow me on social media and there'll be a link before Monday. And afterwards at 7 o'clock, we come onto LinkedIn for Motivational Monday with, I think that's what it's called. Yeah, Mindset Monday, Motivational Monday with Pete Cohen. I met Alexia in Pete Cohen's room on Clubhouse, and we went to a lady called Karen Dark's room, who was doing the Quest 79 project. And Karen Dark is a Paralympian. In fact, Alexia Franklin is on the top trumps cards of Quest 79 because of her committing to doing 79 days of rubbish collecting in her local area to see the difference that she could make. Because Quest 79 is about making a difference in your own community, in your own life, in your own space, taking control of the challenges that you have. And one of them was that her area was not good for rubbish. And she went out every day, indeed, with a trolley and a grabber and eventually a truck and, a helper and the dog and the cat and the whole world, the whole shebang out collecting rubbish for 79 days and longer than that. And she's made a real difference in Wisbech, so much so that she's now working with the health board and the local council know about her, and people in the area pick up their own rubbish now before Alexia goes out to do it, although she does still go out. And when we met with Karen Dark, it was Karen Dark's dream that prompted me to start raising funds for a hand cycle. And this summer I smashed a hand cycle marathon after being in the hospital with multiple organ failure and passing away during COVID from double pneumonia and double pleurisy. My recovery has been phenomenal. And if you haven't seen it, please go and look, because my Instagram really does show my recovery, certainly in part and certainly over the last 2 years. And I believe that it is a phenomenal change. In fact, I showed a picture to one of our disabled entrepreneurs last night as I finished at 8 o'clock. I coached for 10 hours yesterday. There are so many people coming through our doors that I shared a photo of myself in hospital in 2021, actually. And his words were, "I thought it was your mother." And said, "You look younger now than you did then by an entire generation." So I feel quite proud that the whole journey of Clubhouse and knowing each other and inclusion and its evolution is profound. It's profound for me. The impact is that I am now in Wales. I'm further training as a social worker beyond my psychotherapy training and Senko status. I'm further training as a social worker. And the reason for that, not because this degree will get me any more money, not because it will give me any different job to the one I'm doing already, which is creating access to work opportunities for people to move into workfulness, and those that are in workfulness to know how to have reasonable adjustments, but also for employers. And we're working with a major corporate now, making their staff space inclusive and enabling their employees to apply for access to work and gain equity in the workplace. And it was because of Karen Dark and Alexia and the encouragement of people around me that got me to start on this quest. And that quest of the hand cycle marathon, the first one is over, but in 2025 my intention is to ride my cycle in the Naked London bike ride as I graduate as the naked social worker. I believe as social workers and facilitators of change, agents of change, as Christian referred to, we have to be out and loud and proud about who and what and how we are. For those of us actually that have children that have challenges, that don't recognise or are not out and loud and proud with our own challenges, I also think there's a challenge. I do. I raised my children knowing about their neurodivergence. I raised them knowing about their autism, their ADHD, their dyscalculia, their dyspraxia, all of those things, severe dyslexia, social anxiety, highly sensitive, intolerances, allergies, and I didn't include myself. It was only later that I was diagnosed, and I do believe that diagnosis is key to acceptance. And when we accept ourselves, then we accept others. And it's when we, as Alexia alluded to, when we diss ourselves, when we don't accept our diss in our ability, if we don't accept our learning differences, if we don't accept that we're all different, and in some ways perhaps we are too, then we will continue to other ourselves and take the ableist agenda. And until we believe that everybody has a space and a place at the table, we won't have peace and we can't gain equity. And until society reflects society, society can't be at peace. That's just fact. And for anyone that understands quantum physics, go and have a look. Because if you're not excited about understanding quantum physics, you don't understand it yet. And if you're not excited about everybody having a seat at the table, you don't understand quantum physics. So if I put that on the agenda, I say to you today, We are going in because we belong here. We belong here on LinkedIn. We belong there on Clubhouse at 6 o'clock on Monday. We belong here on LinkedIn at 7 o'clock with Pete. And we belong at the Senate, and we belong at number 10. And we belong at every table and space and train and plane. And yet we can't really get on planes yet. If anyone's ever seen any train travel for disabled people, it's not easy. So we've got a long way to go. But we're definitely moving forward from where we've been. And when we can take what we know now and apply it to everywhere, well, then we can consider again what equity looks like to you. So this week, as you think about moving around the world, consider me in the tube, consider the Jubilee Bridge, and maybe have a word with the transport services about fixing Jubilee Bridge. One of us will this week, because we have to create an inclusive organisation, an inclusive society, an inclusive government, and an inclusive transport service. And then we can put disabled people to work. And then we can stop moaning that they're draining the government of all of the money. For every pound that Access to Work spends, we put £1.67 back into the public coffers. So for those of you who think MJ's getting a £24,000 wheelchair, that obviously she should pay £6,500 too if she's going to use it at the weekends, but a £24,000 wheelchair, that's not really very good, is it? That's a lot of money out of the government, but that will put £1.67 for every one of those £24,000. So I am filling those public coffers, because what they give me in equipment and support facilitates all of those people that I now work with, and all of those people that are becoming disabled entrepreneurs. So I look forward to the first disabled entrepreneur. We are only a few £100 away. I would like to be giving that out in Christmas time. To be honest, I would like to be crowning the first disabled entrepreneur at Christmas or in the new year. That would be incredible at the beginning of 2024 to really put a line in the sand that neuro-inclusivity, that inclusivity, that disabled entrepreneurs, that workfulness for the 1 in 5 is here to stay. And I'm very grateful and honoured in this last few minutes to announce that I had a call from the government. Makes me sound like, and the government rang me. They're on the red phone, like the bat phone, at 8 o'clock, between 7 and 8 p.m. the other night. Not even the time the government should be on the phone, right? But the government rang between 7 and 8 o'clock and said, don't quote me on this, MJ. So I'm not quoting anybody. But it was the government. I'm not going to say who or how or where, but it was the government. It was an agent of the government. And they said to me that Access to Work is now firmly on the agenda, that the backlog will be caught up by Christmas, that they're taking on new staff, not only the 50 that we evoked by our petition, but more. And there's a national campaign for recruitment, and they are training right now, and that they intend to have this solved by January. So we are looking forward to a future where the 1 in 5 are given opportunity to equipment and services and goods to make the difference. Now all we need are inclusive employers who will accept them. To do that, they need to understand, and to do that, you need to contact us. So if you're an employer and you don't understand how to employ disabled employees and why it's good for your bottom line and why it won't cost you a penny, get in touch with me. And if you're an employer and you don't know how to get your reasonable adjustments made, you don't know what Access to Work is, contact us, me or Christian or Alexia or Marie, who's in the audience. But you know my number. And if you want to know more, then just give us a call, because we're recruiting. We're recruiting coaches, and we are recruiting support assistants, and we're recruiting as part of my management team. So please do get in touch if you are looking for workfulness, and indeed you want to be trained and developed in the 1 in 5, because inclusion is something you need to be trained to do and qualified to do, not something you just wander into. So on that note, we are just a couple of minutes away. Let's get behind this agenda of going to the top with the issues of the bottom and dealing with the mess in the middle, so that I can get my personal mobility device. And I wish I was using it today, but I won't be. Even though I am working weekends, remember, so that social and domestic contribution won't be necessary if I keep on doing this, will it? I'm working all day at the Senate. Please pray for me and think of me as I'm moving into spaces and places I've never been before. And I thank you, everyone, for listening. Please get in touch with your feedback if you've got anything to say, if you'd like to feed into these sessions, if you would like to contribute in these sessions. I would be incredibly grateful. We are disappearing, and I wish you all a happy and eventful and fantabulous weekend. I will now go and support our neurodivergents in the Senate for the day. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.